Heads up, it's the Roll Jays podcast, the voice of the Creighton basketball fan. With your hosts, Jimmy Allen, Alex Drake, and Casey Matthews. Join the crew and meet CU players, coaches, and a whole lot more. Now, the Roll Jays podcast. Here's Jimmy Allen.
Welcome in for the special halftime show. It is Creighton 40, Providence 39. This is the Roll Jays podcast brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. Don't forget, you can scan the QR code in the top right of your corner to donate to Creighton's NIL collective, the Bird Club. All donations will benefit your favorite student athletes as well as this great podcast. Casey, how are you doing after that first half?
Good. Yeah, I feel good. That's a really hard place to play. And so regardless of how good that team is, which, I mean, I think Providence is fine. It's a hard place to go in and win. I think the last time we won at Providence was during COVID, if I'm not mistaken. And it was, I just remember walking in that arena. We actually played in the women's arena. And no fans, so it was cardboard cutouts. And in that
good
game,
old days.
I don't know about that, but in that game, Mitch hit I think maybe two like really deep threes. So that's just for whatever reason, I was just thinking about that today, and yeah, it's pretty memorable game there for us. So yeah, it would be nice to get a win at Providence today.
And another thing that you brought up on Saturday too, that I don't think a lot of people put enough credit into it. This is a long day for Creighton. It's an 8:30 local tip time. Like you said, you're sitting in the hotel all day. And again, already a tough place to play, and your routine is already thrown off.
100%. And listen, like, I know if you haven't been in it, you don't really understand like, this is the time of year that just starts to really, really drag, because you've gotten through your non-conference and now you've played everybody once at least in the league. Like, just gets to be like you're kind of ready to get to tournament time. And so getting through February is it's just, I wouldn't say it's difficult, but like, it takes a different level of focus. So when you're in that hotel, which is a great hotel, that's the Renaissance downtown Providence, big time spot, but you're just sitting in there all day. You know, I'm sure they did study hall or something today. You know, did shoot around. But to get your juices going for that game, man, after it can be difficult. So
and you bring up the study hall thing too. I don't think it's ever talked about enough, right? Like, what you go through during basketball season in terms of right before Christmas, you're grinding through the season, but you're also grinding for finals. Then you have a break where it's just basketball for a little bit, and now you're like starting classes over. And it's not an excuse, but it does make the schedule a lot harder than people realize.
I mean, I was just talking to a former player actually the other day, and it was you know, when you're on, like, typically most staffs, they divvy up players for like academics, like who's responsible for which kids, just make sure they're going to class and getting the grades. And this is one of my kids, and I remember talking to him. Was this when I was at North Dakota State? I remember talking to him throughout his college career, and like, Case, man, this is hard. You don't get it. Just talking to him the other day, and now he's overseas. He's overseas playing in France, and he goes, man, Case, I should have listened to you, man. Those are the easiest days of my life. So, like, you know what I mean? It's like, I get it, but at the same time, is it that hard, Alex?
I'm just saying, like, from a kid's perspective, right? Like,
that's the hardest thing they're ever going to do.
Yeah, 100%. And the reality, it isn't. But in the moment, it seems like that for them, and it gets really monotonous.
We should probably talk about the game, huh?
Yeah, the way the game's going, I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb. I don't think Providence is going to shoot almost 60% from three in the second half. They're getting a lot of good looks. They banked one in. It's been an interesting game. You saw Kalk get the technical. What are your thoughts on the first half overall?
Fine. I mean, like our fearless leader Jimmy, who's sick, and we wish you the best, Jimmy. Hope you get better soon. He pointed out, they've already hit three threes more in this game than they did in Omaha. So obviously when they're scoring more from the perimeter, I mean, it's going to change. It's going to change whether we have to guard. They did a good job, especially in that last 10 minutes, of getting Kalk on the perimeter. The announcers even pointed it out a little bit, but to get him out there, does a couple things. I mean, one, it makes him guard in a place where he's not as comfortable. But two is it opens up the rim a little bit, so you can get some actions going to the rim, put some pressure on the rim, and get him, not just moving side to side. He's actually got to move north and south, and it definitely changes how he guards. So I think they did a good job there. Offensively, I think you got to give him the ball any chance you can. I mean, he's just dominant, and
I want that
they have
whistle
no
on the
match for
kickball
him.
back on the pass from Fedora. I want that whistle back.
Yeah. Well,
because I think you could have got him going right then and there a little bit sooner than you did.
Yeah.
He went on a run in the first half.
Yeah, he's going. I mean, I was glad to see him hit those free throws at the end.
Yeah.
That first one came off the rim really bad on the two that he shot earlier. So I was glad to see that. And I wanted to bring this up too, and I hope we can talk about it tonight on the radio. But did you notice Providence hits that three towards the end of the second half? There's 36 seconds left on the clock, and you see Mac kind of putting his hands up, telling Steven to wait to touch the ball, because once you touch that ball, the clock's going to start. So what he did there is he let the clock go to just about 30, then picks it up so they can inbound it. And now Providence ends up getting the ball back and got a last second shot, but they weren't able to actually run any kind of late half play. Just a really heads up play by Mac, and not something that, like, again, you're in the moment. And so to be cognizant of the clock and the situation, yeah, I know that's his job. I get that, but it's still one of those things that, you don't, those opportunities don't come every game. So they're not like you're getting that rep every single game. And so to remember that in those moments, and we used to practice it, we'd talk about it in practice. So just a really heads up play by Mac, because it could have been a situation.
Clock in general, understanding the clock and how to manipulate it in a situation like this, is something that I think is seriously underrated amongst all coaches of every sport that has a running clock. Obviously, baseball, you don't have it, but I
agree.
You see it all the time. We see it in football with bad challenges or weird timeouts. Like, clock management is one of the hardest things to do in sports from a coach's perspective. And to your point, that was a great call out by Mac, and equally as much, you know how it is in the heat of the game as a player. Sometimes, like, you don't catch on, and it takes 3, 4, 5 calls out from the coach. Great job by Steven to recognize it right away and not get caught up in the moment, because you had a little bit of a back and forth going right there, right? Like, you had 3 or 4 quick trips. So
they were
all around.
Offensively, they're actually playing well. I thought it was a smart play. I mean, they still got off a shot, but I think there was like 2.6 seconds or something. But, like, whatever, it's a heck of a lot better than 6. If you have 6 seconds, you can inbound and actually run a transition play to get a shot. So it's just a heads up play. I thought also Max called there at the end to get Kalk that 3. He knew they were going to help on that stagger, and so for him to step back and have that, pretty much wide open 3 until the foul was fantastic. I think Mac's doing a really good job so far in this game, and I'd like to see the pace. I really loved when Kalk was running, and I think it obviously puts pressure on the rim, but also it opens up things in the lane for him to get some of those lobs. I thought Steven was really good. To be honest with you, there's not much that I can really nitpick.
You only had 1 turnover in this half too, by the way. Like,
I was just going to say that.
We're coming off a game where we were complaining a ton about turnovers. You have 1 turnover in the first half. To me, what it comes down to is you're just not hitting shots. Like, Jason Green, 0 for 2 from 3. You don't expect a lot from him there. Stevens, 2 for 6, but the 2 were really good ones. Calk's 1 for 3, and Jackson's 2 for 4. Like, to me, the biggest story is you're not getting the stops that you typically get, which will come again. I really think Providence is just shooting better than they normally do, and you're not necessarily hitting shots that you normally hit. I think that's the difference right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's. I mean, you kind of nailed it, but I think you got to do a better job guarding the 3-point line.
Right.
I'd like to hit some more threes too. I mean, to take 18 of your 34 shots as threes and only hit 5 of them, efficiency wise, that's not great. I'd like to see us be more than that 8 made threes at this stage. Maybe 7 to feel really comfortable with the second half. But I do think we're going to be fine. Just got to keep throwing the ball to the big fella. Take open threes. And you know what? We say it every camp. They're gonna hit. They're gonna make runs. So you got to stay with it. Don't let the crowd get into it. And when they do, just keep doing what we're doing. We'll be fine. And like I said, Max coached in that building a million times and coached against way better teams in that building than we're playing today. Yeah. And I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah. So let's get to it. Once again, we are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. I almost said Pyramid Roofers. Pyramid Contractors. Casey, give me 2 quick keys to the second half. I know you kind of already ran through them.
Yeah, we got to shoot it better from 3, and we got to guard the 3, and I think we'll be fine.
Yep. For me, it is obviously shoot and guard the 3. I'm going to lump that into 1. 2, I think you got to get, whether it's Fedor or Jemiah, you got to get a guard going to the rim a little bit to help free up some more open shots. But you are getting a lot of open shots. But beyond that, you just knock down 3s, guard the 3, and I think you're fine. So, all right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we will get back to you guys immediately after the game. 402-951-1620. Give us a call and let us know your thoughts on the game. Thanks, everybody.